Got bronchitis and ain't nobody got time for that, so here's the news. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here today and sounding a little bit different, but still bringing you the same old news. And coming to you a little bit early. Today is Thursday, January 26th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Starting off, we got a video game launching, I believe it launches tomorrow, but still talking about it right now. The Dead Space remake, the long awaited remake of EA's original Dead Space game, has arrived. It is reviewing very well. It's got an 89 Metacritic as far as last time I checked. And everyone's saying it's a very faithful recreation of the original Dead Space. Um, I think there's like some subtle nuances in like how long it's been since it's been remade. So a lot of people are drawing comparisons to Resident Evil 2 and how long between Resident Evil 2 originally launched and it got remade. So that wasn't quite as big a jump. Dead Space still kind of holds up. So if you still own the old Dead Space, you might still be able to play that. But for those people like me who never played the original, who don't own the original, this is a good way to jump in and be able to play with some minor quality of life increases. So I'm pretty excited to pick it up eventually. But I'm going out of town this weekend, so that is why I am coming to you early. But yeah, let me know if you pick up the Dead Space remake, what you think of it. I'm looking forward to picking it up. I've always been pretty excited for it. I just have to wait now for limited run games to send me my collector's edition with a helmet. Don't tell my wife. Moving right along, a game that also launched this week, but not quite as well received. Forsaken. I think a lot of people had probably a pretty good sense of what the game was going to be about going into it. I know they got poo pooed during one of their trailer launches where they had like this weird voiceover. Um, and now that we have a little bit more context of like, okay, you take this New Yorker and you place them in a fantasy world and give them magical powers, there's going to be some like culture shock. And I think that's what is kind of happening is trying to bring like smooth talking, fast talking New Yorker into magical realm with a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on just doesn't like thematically jive. And so I think it's kind of a miss. Squeenix is it's kind of done the Ubisoft where it's just kind of a bland open world RPG. Which if you love open world RPGs and have nothing to play right now, still pick it up. It's got a 67 Metacritic. I don't think that's going to entice me away from the games I'm currently playing. But let me know if you do pick it up, what you think of it down below in the comments. I haven't done this in 2 weeks, so I'm going to go back a week and talk about the game that launched last week, Fire Emblem Engage. This is the latest Fire Emblem game since Fire Emblem Three Houses, which sold like hotcakes. So people were pretty excited going into this. It's got an 82 Metacritic. A lot of what I was reading from the reviewers is it's the same great kind of combat and an art style and all that kind of stuff, but story's not quite there. You're a little bit less engaged, which is ironic considering the name of the game, but you're just less engaged with the characters. There's not a lot to engage with there, which is kind of ironic, wouldn't you say, Alanis Morissette? Moving right along, we've got a developer direct. Microsoft did not not like a not like an ID at Xbox, not an Xbox. Oh god, what were their showcase? Not one of those. This one was just the developers talking directly to the communities. They had a series of 5 games, and they were just kind of talking about what's coming up, what's coming down the pipe. So it's kind of seemed like kind of a state of play, but for Microsoft. The first thing that started off with was their Minecraft RTS, Minecraft Legends, and actually seeing gameplay made it seem pretty compelling. Like the multiplayer kind of base building, and competing, kind of reminded me of the old school Warcraft days where you would hop in a server and try and beat up your friends with some other friends. So the PvP mode seemed like really compelling, something I might be interested in exploring, except for you're all working from the same base as opposed to traditional RTS where you build up your own base and work together to coordinate attacks. But yeah, I thought it looked really cool. And we got a launch date for it. It's coming. uh, April 18th. So we don't have to wait too long to play that with the handful of friends that I know that could either pick it up on PC Game Pass or traditional Xbox Game Pass. They had several other games. They talked about Elder Scrolls Online for a while. The other one that they ended with, which is the one I was looking most forward to, was Redfall. They were finally talking a little bit more about their Left 4 Dead like with vampires. They really wanted to emphasize the story, which I thought was a little bit of a miss. It's really hard for me to get behind trying to fully invest in a four-player cooperative story when my friends are going to be like teabagging or flossing while some exposition's coming to me. So yeah, I know that Back for Blood had was trying for a story as well. I'm still very intrigued on really good storytelling in a cooperative Left 4 Dead like, but I'm very concerned about this. But the RPG mechanics, the way you level up and change your character, have a lot of compelling choices in there. And we finally got confirmation on when the date is. Redfall will be launching in May, as it was leaked earlier this month. It will be launching May 2nd. So May is quickly starting to fill up. Everyone's avoiding that Tears of the Kingdom timeframe of May 12th. So got to get in before Zelda chokes up all the oxygen in the May room, to continue the analogy. But moving right along, all throughout the week, even while I was gone last week, people were starting to get their hands on the new DualSense Pro controller. Um, it's called the Edge. The DualSense Edge is their $200 kind of response to the Xbox Elite controller, which I think a lot of people have very positive opinions of. And PlayStation wanted to get in on that. I think the carrying case actually looks pretty cool for it, but otherwise, I think it I don't know that it's kind of something that I'm gonna throw $200 down to try and get those like back paddles that I don't even use on the controllers I have that do have them. I'll have a review down below. You can read GameSpot's review of the DualSense Edge down below in the comments. Really excited for The Last of Us. We got to see numbers on the big premiere, and The Last of Us is starting off really strong. It is the second biggest premiere of HBO in the last decade, which is pretty impressive. Followed closely behind House of the Dragons, which you can kind of guess why that one was so big. Um, and yeah, really excited to see that. I've actually seen a couple reports talking about how much the sales of the Last of Us games have been increased based on the success of the show, which is always a good sign for your games, for your TV or movie properties that are based on games. So excited to see that as well. And I'm caught up. Don't talk about spoilers down below, but very excited for to watch more Last of Us. And I think the acting in it is very great and awesome. Set design and being able to kind of live in that world is very cool. So I'm excited for more of The Last of Us, and I'm excited that it launched so successfully. Um, we've got Undead Dragons. Who would have thought? Um, Going back to, oh gosh, when was this canceled? 2015, 2016 or so. Um, Scalebound was, for those of you who don't know, was a dragon flight simulator fighting like dog fighting game that was supposed to come out for Microsoft. Supposed to be a Microsoft exclusive. They canceled it, I think, with like little to no reason listed. Like 8 years ago, something like that. So quite a long time ago. But but Microsoft is now starting up conversations with Platinum Games, and so we could be seeing Scalebound come back. I think we even saw like vertical slice of the game. Like there was a lot of it was really far along in the process. And I think a lot of people were really excited to see like dragon flight sim combat, dragon fighting. I don't think at the time I was very excited for it, but it's totally a concept I can get behind now. And I I don't think there was a lot of reason why it got no one really knows why it got canceled back in the day. So and it might come back. So pretty excited to see that. If you know why it got canceled back in the day, please tell me. That's definitely some insight I want to know. Moving right along. Speaking of back in the day, going way back to probably the first multiplayer console shooter that you could play with people. I'm talking about GoldenEye, back on the N64, big head slappers only. Um, it's I think we've been teased for quite some time that it's coming to consoles, and it's coming to Game Pass tomorrow. So tomorrow you'll be able to hop in on Xbox Game Pass, download GoldenEye 007, and be able to run around and shoot your friends in all the great facilities. You get your mines and your proximity mines, which were always so broken in the game. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Moving right along, I've always been really fascinated with the Steam World games. Um, they they're kind of like Supergiant in that they have a very well kept world, and they just keep putting it in different situations. Kind of like how Supergiant makes a new game and it's in a new genre every time they make a new game. That's kind of what they do with the Steam World game. So the Steam World games originally started as like a 2D platformer games. They eventually went to God, what was it? Steam World Disco or something was the turn-based strategy game. They had the Steam World Card Battler, which I was a big fan of, and now they're going to, dare I say it, a city builder. I've been talking about a city builder revolution for quite some time, and there's been a lot of city builders coming out recently, and really excited to see that SteamWorld is going to be going to make a city builder game coming soon, aptly called SteamWorld Build. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think it's coming this year, if I remember the trailer correctly. I'll have a link down below to that trailer, but I love the SteamWorld games. I believe I played all of them. I didn't play too much of the turn-based strategy, and I didn't play SteamWorld 2 as much, but I have played all of them. So pretty excited for more SteamWorld games. And last but not least, as a game I recently, beat, I am very excited for a prequel that was announced recently. Road 96 was kind of the world's first attempt at like a roguelike narrative, where you select a character and then you kind of work your way through the storyline, meeting characters that intersect. Yeah, I really like the kind of narrative, and I have tweets about my thoughts on Road 96. But there's a prequel coming out called Mile Zero, which has some of the same characters living in that world. So I'm glad that Road 96 did well enough that they continued to develop for it, and they've developed it into a prequel. And I'm pretty excited to play that prequel. It's a pretty cool game that you can play in probably 7 or 8 hours. And for any of you like walking sim fans like me, I really enjoyed it. Really good narrative and really fun to play through. And I'm excited for a prequel, which I think was coming out pretty soon. Was it? It wasn't as soon as April, was it? Maybe I'm getting some of my news mixed up, but very excited for a prequel to a game I recently played and enjoyed, Road 96. So look for Mile Zero coming later this year. And that's it. If you feel I left out anything down below or any news that you'd like to talk about, feel free to put it down in the comments or talk to me in my Discord about anything video game news related. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this content. If you do, please follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. I'll have links down below in the description. Thanks again. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye.